Not only do major life shifts seem unexpected, they can make it difficult to understand how we can manage our day-to-day lives. I used to think that nothing majorly bad ever happened to me. I used to think that in order for me to become someone important or someone worthwhile was for me to overcome something detrimental to my everyday life. Something, that shifted my perception. Ironically, if I were to tell anyone the facts of what I have experienced or the situations I have been through, they may look at me with pity, sympathy, or even shock. They might wonder how I have come out of it or what gave me the strength to go through it. But I wouldn't be able to answer them. The truth is, any bad thing that I have experienced in the last few decades has passed. This means that I have moved on from them, and their previous existence no longer bothers me. I've pained, I've panicked, but I've always moved on. It's only recently that I've had moments of very consistent, hot tears flowing down my cheeks. Like a stream winding through a forest, it's not thrashing the rocks, but it's continuous and feels almost infinite. At first, it was difficult to understand why I was feeling this way. Nothing was imminently hurting my heart, but perhaps, as often as it happens, is something built up over time. In the last 2 years, I have had to relearn how to stand, walk, swim, dance, sing. Basically, I had to relearn how to be me and to do the things that I enjoy. I have to deal with the scars that I never really see, but the pity I see in people's faces when I explain why I am how I am. Except now, I don't really do that anymore. I'm not in denial of my situation, but I also don't want strangers to define me by it. We could have this experience in common, but it won't make things any better for me to indulge in the shock that it was. Instead, I'd rather talk about how a moment of impact has been able to turn my life upside down. I feel like everyone can relate to this, and I feel like I've lost control of my life, my independence, and I don't know how to regain it back or if I ever will. I'd love to know if you've ever felt this way too, and how you have managed to live through it all. Or should this chaotic life be lived without much order, without much expectation? Does living in the present, like my dog, really bring joy and contentedness? Or do we need something to overcome and something to prepare for? One way or another, I know it is not the best idea to make comparisons, but what if the comparisons are with your old self? I felt like I was wild and free, able to take advantage of the things that limit me now. I accomplished incredible things with my strength and stamina. I was able to go wherever I wanted without thinking of how exhausted I would become, if the seats were firm enough, or if I would have enough support to help me along the way. I was truly independent, and I loved it. And I know there's nothing wrong with needing help. It's a privilege in itself to receive it. But is it okay if I have dreams of being self-reliable again? Is it okay if I am on the pursuit of resiliency without that pitiful TED Talk-like ambiance? How can I move on from this after it has been years? In this case, I figure it's best to ask you. Every single one of you have stuck around this long, so what has helped you to move on? Or who?
Oh boy. Anthony left me a note as usual. I thought I was going to complete both avocado dye and onion dye, but as it happens, life happened and I wasn't able to get to it, but I was able to do the onion ones and this is how they turned out. For comparison, so this is what the all white ones look like, just normal, no dye whatsoever. And then this is the onion one and that's the comparison. So yeah, the onion has like much more of a kind of orangish yellow tint to it. Here's the postcard from a couple videos ago. And then this is the paper in the background. And I like doing it actually. To be honest, they don't usually talk about this in a lot of the YouTube videos or reels that talk about how to make natural dyes, but just so you all know, when it comes to making natural dyes, it happens in about 5 minutes or less. The colorant of the fruits and vegetables tends to come right out, like within 2 minutes of being in boiling water. So that's really nice. I'm still waiting on these to be a little bit more flat. As you can see, like they're not there yet, but I like this little bow tie that I did for that one. And that's what goes with this one. And so these are what I'm going to be using for custom poetry. If you are interested in custom poetry or a postcard for somebody very special to you, that's what these papers are for. So I'm going to be completing this watercolor one soon enough. A little bit of a goddess dancer, so to speak, a little goddess fairy. And I'm going to be attaching a couple poems here as some orders have come in, so I'm excited about that. If it is something that interests you, you can find it on my website in the description below. Otherwise, there hasn't really been much updates that I can give you guys for this week. I've just been trying to work on my stamina and having more strength to complete my mixed media painting, which is right here. If you can kind of see it. That's what I'm working on. Adding some texture, some papers here and there, and I'm gonna see how it turns out. Who knows? Anyway, I'm wishing you guys wonder and room to be yourself from this side of the world. Adios.